Innovation has become a buzzword in today's world, a world that creates excitement in the minds of business owners because it is widely accepted that how well a company innovates determines how profitable they become. The Oxford Dictionary defines innovation as the process of innovating, and innovating as making changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products, as well as to introduce something new. Now, according to Bill Gates, software innovation, like almost every other kind of innovation, requires the ability to collaborate and share ideas with other people, and to sit down and talk with customers and get their feedback and understand their needs. The tech industry moves at a supersonic speed, the kind of speed that makes it important for you to understand the process of innovation, especially as it applies to the industry. To discuss this topic is Yele Okeremi, the Managing Director of Precise Financial Systems. Yele has had a lengthy professional IT career as a programmer, system analyst, IT manager, and head of systems and logistics spanning across IT and financial sectors. He's reputed as a leading icon in software development in Nigeria and is a member of the Presidential Initiative for Developing the Software Industry in Nigeria. Welcome to Tech Trends.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me here.
All right. Now, the first thing I would like you to explain is, what is innovation?
Innovation is just doing things differently. And we need to get the difference between innovation and invention, because people tend to use them interchangeably. While invention may talk about coming with a notion that has never been seen anywhere, what innovation tries to do is about the way things are arranged. So innovation allows you use might be existing technologies, but you use them differently. You apply them in a different manner. You arrange things in a different manner. That's innovation.
Okay, so in this industry, technology industry, that is so fast and so quick,
yes,
when it comes to the changes,
yes,
how do we go about innovating in this industry?
Yeah, pretty much. And that's a very good question. Innovation and invention, I try to make a dichotomy between them. So indeed, invention can appear or can be for its own sake. You invent something for its own sake. While innovation must necessarily address a challenge that's existing. And therefore, when you talk about innovation, the process involves engagements. You need to know what your objective function is. What challenge are you trying to solve or present a solution to? What are you trying to improve upon? And then when you identify that, you need to understand the practice, the current status quo. When you understand the current status quo and the practice, you need to identify the gaps in the current status quo and then see how the application of technology, for example, can aid in bridging these gaps, either to achieve higher efficiency or to save costs or to give you higher outputs. Or sometimes it could be something about getting more security. So when you find how to do this, that becomes innovation.
Now, the industry, like we know it, is booming. The buzzword is the tech ecosystem. Are you satisfied with the level of innovation you see going on in the industry at the moment?
Well, I would not say I'm satisfied. It's encouraging, absolutely. But there's always room for more. There's always room for improvements. And so at least what I see today is that at least the system understands and appreciates the value of innovation. But again, the potentials from it are a lot more than what we are getting. And that's why I said, when you say satisfied, for me, I look forward to a whole lot more, giving a whole lot more, promoting and encouraging innovation a lot more.
Okay. Now, would you say, I'm curious to know where those borrowing ideas start and end in the process of innovation. So if I travel outside, and, for example, and I see an idea, and I come back and customize, have I been innovative?
Good question. The important thing about it is originality. And originality means that you are able to use, like I said, it could be an existing solution somewhere in a different manner from the way it was being applied where you saw it. So if you are able to do that, have a differentiation factor, then you have innovated. You have not innovated if you just brought it wholesale and slammed it on the system. No, that's completely not innovation. But just as long as you are able to change the arrangement, use it to solve a problem that's different from what it was originally used for, change the arrangement to achieve something. And I get to some of these things. For example, all of a sudden today, people just think that they are better photographers. But it's not that they are better photographers. It's only that the cameras are now a lot better. And in any case, even telephones now have become cameras. So pretty much anybody would take what we used to call professional level photography in those days. Now that's innovation.
Okay, so when it comes to innovation and invention, what role does intellectual property rights protection play in all this?
That's the key that galvanizes this whole thing together. Because at the end of the day, what innovation feeds on is success. Or, well, I don't want to say financial, or let me say commercial success. Now, if somebody is not able to get any output commercially from his innovation, so what happens is discouraged from innovating. And when that happens, you are killing the entire ecosystem. Therefore, it is important and compulsory to have incentives for innovators and disincentives for anything that kills innovation.
And does government have any role to play in all this?
A whole lot. A whole lot. A whole lot, particularly in our kind of society. See, what happens in America may not necessarily work hook, line, and sinker for us in Nigeria. In America, for example, they have a developed society, they have developed businesses already, such that the impact of government need not be so hard. But in our own system today, you cannot overemphasize the role of government at all. I mean, if you, the economists, so you have the classical economists and the neoclassical economists, and then you have the Keynesian economists. Okay, so some say that, oh, you allow free markets in everything. But then the classical economists say, listen, sometimes it is necessary if you want to kickstart an economy to hire some people to dig a trench in the morning and pay them, and hire a different set of people to fill that same trench in the evening and pay them. So you pay two different sets of people for effectively doing no work, as it were. Now, no businessman is going to do that. Only government has what it takes to do that kind of a thing. And therefore, in a society like ours, government has a whole lot to do to ensure that we are able to, I want to use the word prime the pump. You know, the process of priming the pump means you are pouring water into that pump. But the water you are pouring is fine, but you are expecting that the pump will give you a lot more water than what you have poured into it. So there's need for somebody to have some initial water, which you can pour into the pump. Given the situation in Nigeria today, the most or the best positioned organization for that is government.
I have this idea. I mean, let's look at what Facebook did with MySpace. Facebook actually, tried to do something and built on MySpace success back then.
Absolutely.
And grew Facebook and protected the idea.
Yes.
Is that possible here? How can I protect an idea that I innovate on or something?
Now, it's a good question you have asked. Yes, there are copyright laws in Nigeria.
Are they effective?
Well, to some extent. My company, for example, we do software business and we get copyrights on all our software. Well, the thing is whether you've tested, I know one or two cases. In fact, there's a case that is a celebrated case, the InfoSoft Piles Okigbo case. It's been celebrated. See how long, up till now, they don't even have judgments where, people have infringed on some intellectual property. But you see, the beauty of innovation, the way you have spoken about it, is that innovation in itself protects itself, other than legislation. Because what happens, and I keep telling my people in PFS, I said to people, hey, The source code of our application, so it's available. You can pretty much have it. But what protects it is that even if you took that source code today, by the time you come next week, we have moved on to the next phase.
That is exactly what I was going to ask you. Because if I get, say, this idea, for example, and I tweak it in line with what innovation is.
Yes.
Now, if the copyright people who don't even understand the process, how would they even help the person who owns the actual copyright to defend it?
You've spoken well. So you see, for us to do certain things, and some of us have a whole lot of work to do in getting this to happen in Nigeria. So it's an entire ecosystem. The judiciary need to be trained on how to handle these kind of things. The law enforcement needs to be changed. They need to be trained effectively to understand what you're talking about. The academia need to understand it. How to get the right quality of people outside of the four walls of the citadels. So these things need to change such that people ultimately will be protected, innovators will be protected. Because, like I said earlier, it's a game of economic incentives and disincentives. The thing that makes you want to innovate is because you are incentivized, because you are getting success. And now, depending on what your objective functions are, majority of the time, it's financial. To some people, the academia, it's recognition. They just want to be recognized that I am the founder of this thing. So depending on what your objectives are, the system must be able to protect the original innovator. And if we are unable to do that, we are killing that chain. And that chain will not be able to germinate.
Okay, in your final words, I'd like you to leave us with very solid tips that can help one in the process of taking a business from an idea to commercial viability.
That one, I can write a series of books on it.
No, just quick.
But yeah, the truth is that, and I say this, it's a whole lot beyond competence. I have an equation, well, that a good friend of mine gave me many years ago. So you look at it, that good intentions plus a good game plan plus competence plus discipline gives you good results. So the good intentions or having innovation as an intention is not sufficient for getting business success. Secondly, competence doesn't guarantee it. There's a lot that matters in discipline. You need discipline to stay the course because there's a whole lot of distractions. And I say this honestly, and I've said this all the time. People have told me, oh, Bill Gates was lucky. He came at that time. I do agree. Larry Ellison, I do agree. But you know the funny thing? Being a success is a code. A successful man will always be successful whenever he's born. Because it's a game of identifying what opportunities are for that day. What I'm saying is that a human being doesn't have the capability to pursue too many options. So the options that were available to Bill Gates at that time could have been a whole lot. But he chose that one and he pursued it. Today, if he's born today, there will be opportunities. Somebody said in the United States in the 1890 something that they should close down the patent office. Everything that needs to be invented has been invented. We are still inventing things. So what I'm saying here is that it is important to stay the course and ensure that you focus very, very, don't go with the distractions. The distractions only kill you. When you get to that point, then I think you can become very successful. Of course, you need a whole lot of structures to protect you against your own self as well. There's quite a few things that we can talk about, but I think we can put it at that for now.
I want to thank you, Yele, for coming to Tech Trends today.
Very great pleasure.
We'll sure have you again.
Very great pleasure.
All right, you've heard him. Innovation is key, and anyone can be innovative. We'll be right back.
New world, new view. Loads of platforms, but it's all about the trends. Getting real-time updates as it happens is key, and sharing same is more important. Join Channels B, our online community on trending topics in the social cyberspace, where young Nigerians from around the world converge and engage in discussions that will shape the future of the country.
Every Monday, 3:30 p.m. Channels B, giving wings to new media.
Question 1 comes in from Adetunji, writing from Songota. He's asking whether to learn website design or computer programming. Okay, well, if you learn any good programming language such as PHP, Java, or the new kid on the blog, HTML5, then you should be able to build websites and many other products and services such as mobile apps. So I suggest you devote time in learning a good programming language, and that will cover your needs to build websites. Question 2, why is my Facebook page post reach decreasing by the day? From Kelvin. Well, Facebook at some point after their IPO changed the algorithm, which sort of decreased the reach of a page post and gave you the option to promote your post instead. So really, there's really not much you can do except you are willing to pay for your post to be promoted. Please send your questions or comments to techtrends@channelstv.com or via any of our social media as displayed on your screen. This is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of the show. I'd love to leave you with a quote from Steve Jobs, founder of Apple Inc. He says, innovation has nothing to do with how many R&D dollars you have. When Apple came up with the Mac, IBM was spending at least 100 times more on R&D. It's not about the money, it's about the people you have, how you are led, and how much you get it. Remember, you can watch the whole show on Channels TV YouTube channel. Join us same time next week on Tech Trends. Bye-bye.